This is the FM Gold channel of All India Radio. In the program Money Talk, we now bring you an interview on impact of RBI's decision withdrawing pre-2005 currency notes with Deepak Singhal, Regional Director, Reserve Bank of India, and Arjun J. Chaudhary, Economic Journalist.
Today, we will be discussing about RBI's move to withdraw pre-2005 currency notes of the denomination of 500 and 1000. Deepak Singhal, why has this directive been launched by the RBI now? What are the reasons behind this particular move?
This is across all denominations. It's not just 500 and 1000. Let us understand that this is a very normal process. Reserve Bank keeps withdrawing old soiled notes from the system and keeps replacing them with fresh ones from time to time. The idea is to ensure that people get fresh notes to transact their business. If you look, typically, a small denomination note has lifespan ranging from 6 months to 1 year. High denomination notes, especially 500 to 1000, they have a lifespan to 3 to 4 years. Now, we are talking of 9 years from now. So, in normal process of withdrawal, a large number of these notes may have already gone out of the circulation. So a majority of notes which are currently in circulation are post-2005. That is one. So there is nothing special. These notes are withdrawn in the normal process also. Sometimes there is a special effort made to withdraw a particular series. For instance, if you remember, earlier there used to be notes called Ashoka Pillar series. They were withdrawn at one point and replaced with fresh series. Similarly, there used to be a 500 rupee note in dark green color which had Gandhiji printed on that. That was also withdrawn and then replaced with the current notes that you have today. So this is a normal process. There is nothing special about this. Number two, why we are doing it today? The notes that have come out since 2005 have higher security features. They are more difficult to fake. It's more difficult to make a counterfeit of a note which has been printed post-2005 because of better security features. Now there is a feeling that since all these notes continue to be in circulation, the fake notes that you detect from the system largely compare with the notes of 2005 and before because they are easier to copy. So to make the job of counterfeiters more difficult, it is important that we make a concerted attempt to withdraw all these notes from circulation and replace them with fresh notes with have better security features.
There are some further directives in the form of the number of notes that require exchange. So if you're a banking customer, then you may not furnish details of your personal identification. But if you're a non-banking customer, there are some requirements. So could you just speculate on what are the concerns of the public and how can they overcome it?
If you have an account with a bank and you go to your own branch, then the branch already has details on you. And you can submit any amount of notes there, because these notes, what is important for your listeners to understand is that these notes continue to be legal tender and there is no date set that when they will cease. This is not demonetization. These notes continue to be legal tender for good amount of foreseeable future. The idea behind that is to see that people don't make a business out of this. Because a large number of traders collect money from public and then they go and exchange it over the counter. So if I have a bank account, I can easily go to my branch and change whatever notes I have with that branch. The banks are obliged to change all these notes which continue to be legal tender. In fact, it's a criminal offense not to accept these notes. So where is the need? The idea behind putting those numbers is to ensure that we don't let people make a business out of this. People don't buy it at a discount and then come to Reserve Bank and submit them in large numbers. So that idea behind that is that.
So clearly there are two aspects to it. One, the old series notes which are in circulation and the new series notes which are coming out of the ATM machine. So how would you advise the average citizen how to go about it? I mean, if they're taking out the money from the ATM machine, do they have to carry a due diligence of that security? Or do they have to, whichever notes are there in their wallet, they need to go and have a look at it?
I don't think presently there is no need to panic. It's business as usual. See, as it is, all transactions, they remain valid up to 31st March 2014. So you have more than 2 months where these notes can be frequently used. In any case, if you want to change them before that, you can always go to your bank and change them. Even post that, you can go to your bank and change them. If you have a bank account, you can deposit them in your bank account because the bank has details about you and there is absolutely no problem. The bank is obliged to change them. Only if you have them in large numbers, and you want to do that post-June, then the bank will take a record. In any case, if you have them in large numbers, then it is expected that you will have a bank account, and that bank account will then accept it. There should be no problem. Only if you have it unaccounted and you don't have a bank account, then there may be a problem. But that, I think, is not what Reserve Bank is worried about.
Could you describe how illegal trade in such notes actually takes place? How do they make an unlawful gain from these kind of transactions?
See, what happens in a situation like this, there are people who tend to sort of buy these notes at discount from people. They say that for a 500 rupee note, we will give you 300 rupees and then come and exchange it over the Reserve Bank or at some other bank's counter. So to prevent that from happening, that condition has been stipulated.
There's also a report that 5 lakh fake notes have been detected in the banking system. A 31% jump from the year before. Now these figures are alarming. What are the agencies doing apart from RBI to prevent the circulation of such notes?
Firstly, let's understand that in terms of the detection of fake notes, we are nowhere comparing to what is happening in other countries. From the world standards, we are still much more comfortable. I think our detection of notes is 8 pieces per billion, which is much lesser compared to some of the other countries where the detection is to the extent of 20 pieces per billion. So in terms of detection, there is no cause for alarm. The point is that if you sort of stay with a particular security feature for too long, then you give time to counterfeiters to develop techniques in which those security features can be replicated. Which is why all governments and all central banks across the world, they keep changing these security features from time to time. They keep upgrading these security features so that they make it more difficult for the counterfeiters to fake those notes. As far as the responsibility is concerned, see, Reserve Bank is in the business of dealing with fresh notes and genuine notes. Fake notes are a law and order problem. Fake notes are not problem of the currency issuer. Fake notes are the criminal elements are involved in that process. And therefore, it's for the law and order machinery to sort of enforce and see that these fake notes are prevented from circulating. Reserve Bank, what it can do and what it does is that whenever a large number of fake notes are tendered over our counter beyond 4, 5 or more, we inform the police and we take the details of the person and we tell the police as to this is the person who has deposited this. And after that, it's the normal process of law which takes over and they have to find out as to what is the trail and how these notes have come into the system.
What kind of technology are you implementing to detect these fake notes in the system? I understand that the percentage is very, very low, but what are the techniques that you use to thwart this kind of a practice?
We use computerized machines which have electronic sensors. There are certain features which are visible to the naked eye, which I and you can look at the note and say that these features are genuine. There are certain only machine-readable features, which only machine can see. There is absolutely no question that a fake note will go through the currency processing machine that the Reserve Bank has. Because that machine is computerized, the basic features and those machine-readable features are inbuilt into that machine. And as soon as a fake note passes through that machine, the electronic sensors will detect that this is a fake note and they will throw it out. So there is absolutely no way that a fake note will go past Reserve Bank.
What are the directives to the banks to ensure that these notes do not come back to the system?
That is the point. Actually, the Reserve Bank instructions are very clear that whenever a note is tendered on a bank's counter, the bank has to see whether it is reissuable or non-reissuable. If it's in good condition and it can be reissued, then the bank must put it back into circulation. If the note is not reissuable, it's too soiled or torn, then they are expected to withdraw it and give it to Reserve Bank, which will then replace it with fresh notes. The Reserve Bank will run it through its machine and then destroy it. This is a normal process. As I said, there have been attempts in past and we have done it as policy, and this is international practice. Most central banks do it. They keep replacing their notes from time to time. We have withdrawn entire series earlier. We have withdrawn Ashoka series pillar. We have also instructed banks this time that whenever there is a note of 2005 or earlier vintage, it should be ensured that it does not go back into circulation and it should be given to Reserve Bank, which will then destroy it.
We spoke about the measures to counterfeiting of fake notes really and pass it as a series note within the economy. There is also the dual factor of weeding out black money from the system. How does that work?
The task of weeding out black money is for the tax authorities to tackle. That is not Reserve Banks. See, because you have to differentiate between the job of currency circulation is with Reserve Bank. But then once you define money, all currency is not money. Money is a lot more than just currency. Currency is just a part of the larger money. So note by itself is neither black nor white. Currency note is just a currency note. Whether it is black or white is determined by the nature of transaction through which it reaches its owner. So a 100 rupee note in my pocket may be completely white, it may come out of my salary, and if I do a transaction, if I give a bribe, then it becomes black to the receiver. So Reserve Bank is not in that business. It is the job of weeding out black money or detecting black money is the job of government and the taxation authorities.
We are just looking to counter measures against counterfeiting as far as this measure of the Reserve Bank of India is concerned. Could you just elaborate on the mechanism by which you take in old notes and you give out new notes? So how does that system work? Isn't there always a risk of overprinting or underprinting? How does that system work?
No. See, what happens is that the Reserve Bank in its vault maintains a stock of fresh notes. Now, how does Reserve Bank is not available in upcountry areas, it's available only in the state capitals. We manage our currency through a network of currency chests. We have more than 4,500 currency chests all across the country. Now, these currency chests, which are with various commercial banks, they maintain a stock of fresh notes on behalf of Reserve Bank. Reserve Bank keeps these currency chests supplied with fresh notes. As soiled notes are tendered over the counters of these commercial banks, they withdraw those soiled notes and replace them with fresh notes and keep these soiled notes in their chests. Once their chest becomes full with soiled notes, then they send those notes to Reserve Bank of India and get fresh notes in exchange for those soiled notes. The Reserve Bank then examines these soiled notes and destroys them.
So it's incinerated basically?
It's not incinerated, it's shredded. Earlier it used to be incinerated, but that was not a very environment friendly way. We used to sort of burn them and it had a carbon footprint, it had, it was environmentally not acceptable. So what we now do is we shred these soiled notes, make very small paper shreds, and then that paper shred is used for recycled paper or even as fuel for some of these businesses that, as kilns and fuel for some of the fire kilns of some businesses.
Well, we have gone into detail in terms of how to ensure implementation of this RBI directive. Could you just in layman's terms explain to the public who will be listening to this broadcast, just to ease their concerns regarding this particular directive?
I think there are 2 or 3 things basic to understand. One, this is nothing special. This is a normal feature which all central banks do from time to time. They keep replacing old series, old currency notes with new notes, old feature notes with new feature notes. And this is not the first time it is happening in India. As I said, it has happened earlier. Number 2, it is not demonetization. The notes continue to be legal tender in good foreseeable future. I mean, in good, I can say, for many years to come, they will remain legal tender. They will be accepted by public. They will be accepted by banks. And they will be accepted by Reserve Bank. The banks will be obliged to pay value for these currencies. So, to me, there is absolutely no need for panic in the minds of public to say that, this is, I could have understood, demonetization is different. Demonetization means that the currency has become useless. The currency will become unacceptable. That is not happening. All that we are saying is that we are replacing this series with the new series. Please go to your bank, give them and get new series notes. Essentially, to make it more difficult for the counterfeiters to counterfeit this. Because our old series notes are easier to counterfeit, new series notes are more difficult, and we want to make it more difficult for counterfeiters to counterfeit. Therefore, we are withdrawing old series and replacing them with new. That's it. Simple.
And of course, stay away from the clutches of traders looking to buy it at a discount and sell it over the counter.
Yes, that is something that we want to discourage. That is something. It's for members of public. I'm sure people in cities like Delhi have bank accounts. They can go to their banks and exchange them for fresh notes.
And what would you advise if they see that kind of a trade in their vicinity or somebody approaches them? What are the steps do you see them taking?
I would not advise them on what to do, but I can only advise them not to engage in such a trade, not to sell their currency at a discount when they can get full value for it.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You were listening to an interview on impact of RBI's decision withdrawing pre-2005 currency notes with Deepak Singhal, Regional Director, Reserve Bank of India, and Arjun J. Chaudhary, Economic Journalist. It came to you in the program Money Talk, produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. This program is also available on our website, newsonair.nic.in. You may email your opinion about this program at airnsdtalks@gmail.com.